Good morning, everybody. My name is Samantha Mirabal. I'm with Melco's application team doing our Design Shop talk today. I've got just a few questions that were sent in, so if you have questions while we're live, please type them in on the chats. Don't send them to me privately. I don't see those until much later. So just type them in the chat. I have another monitor set up over here that I try to keep track of them on. So, yeah. Good morning, Sherry. Thanks for joining today. All right. So I'm going to start off with a few that were sent in, and then you guys just type in on the chat and I'll see what we can get talking about. Are both platforms up? I guess I should check that. Facebook, YouTube. Is YouTube working? I don't know. It says it's live. Oh, Jan, hi. So yes, YouTube I guess must be working. All right, excellent. All right, welcome. So I'm a new user to Melco Summit. How do I get designs from the computer to the Melco? So there's two ways you can do that. So you can set up a shared drive on your computer and then basically set up the Summit tablet to connect to that shared drive on your computer. And then basically what you would do is save to that folder and then it will show up on the Summit. So that's one way. The other way is you can take a USB drive and plug it into your computer, save the designs to there, march over to your Summit, put the USB into the side of the tablet, and load designs from the USB drive. It's a personal preference. I believe there's some instructions on the FAQ site that show how to actually set up the shared drive and get that all connected. But it's pretty simple. You can either do it that way and it'll load from the drive. You do have to save into that folder. It can be in folders underneath it, so it can be, nested, but it has to be in the main shared folder that you have with the Summit, or just save it on a USB drive and go plug it into the machine and load it straight from there. All right, so from DesignShop file, save as, put it on the USB, pull the USB drive, march over to your machine, you're good to go. All right, I have downloaded a bunch of designs, put them into a file. However, I have a font and can't figure how to enter the font into the collection. All right, so that's the fun part. When you download fonts from places like Etsy and things like that, what you'll end up getting, unless they're digitized as an OFA, which most aren't, what you're going to end up getting is a gazillion files. I'm looking for one. Hang on one second. Things I've bought, fonts. There they are. All right. So what you're going to end up getting is a lot, and I mean a lot of files. Hey Beth, thanks for joining today. So your font, oh, hey, come back. That's different. There. Okay. So you're going to end up getting a download that has every letter digitized independently. Like in this folder alone, I have 310 DST files, which is cute, except how do you use those? Just as downloaded here, they're not typable, right? So in order to use them as downloaded, you literally have to open, let's say I want to do a 12 or a 13. So I'd open the 1 and the 2, and then I'd copy that one, paste it into this one, move it over until it's where I want it, add a trim, and now I've got a 12 that I can center or put on my design, right? So while I can do it that way, it's not exactly the fastest thing ever. And if you're trying to spell out names, so let's see. I'm looking for a letter that would spell my name there. So an S. And where's the A? This is the joy of these things. A lowercase a is going to be that one. And then a lowercase m. Where's JLM? That's lowercase m. All right. So while I can copy, paste, move, select both of those, copy, paste, move. Now I got to play games of aligning them and making it look right. So there are tricks you can use for that. You can select them all and say, align on the bottom, and then you can tell them to even them out, and you can move them around like that, and then I can go and add my trims. So it's all workable, right? But there's faster ways. Most of us like, at least if you're like me, you really like the capabilities of being able to type fonts in. So in DS12, you can do that, right? So you can take all these DST fonts that are here And you can turn those into typable fonts. All right, so if I select the number 1, which font was this? This was Bonobo Satin, DST large. And how big is it? All right, so this is a 2-inch font is how it was digitized. All right, so I'm going to take this letter 1, right click, and go to Save Letter. I'm going to say New, and I have a habit of making the names, my alphabet names, match what I purchased, so I can find the originals if I want to. And I also put the size in here. That way I have all the details of how this was originally digitized. So that's what I'm going to call this, because it was Bonobo Satin DST, which is the file format. It was the large 2-inch font. Cool. So I've got that font. The original height was 2 inches, so I'm going to put that there. And now I'm going to say this was the number 1. Yep. Save that. Now I'm going to go to the letter 2, select it, right click, save letter, type in the number 2. It's on that same font already set, so we're good to go. I can also do that with my A, right click, save letter, lowercase a, right click, save letter, lowercase m, not nm. And then I'm going to do the capital S, right click, save letter, capital S. Okay. All right, so what did that just do, right? So that just created a font here under my custom, yeah. So Bonobo Satin Large, oh, I already had it started. Whoops, whatever, now it's here. That's the one I was just doing. All right, so I can come over here and type in things, right? Oh, all right, so that's the other font. Go back to the one I just created, since all right. I named it something that's not showing up and it's making me mad. That's all right. Oh, there it is. There's the one I just created. I have to select the one I actually created for this to work. S-A-M, there. And now it's typable. All right, so you can see I can make it typable just by saving each of the letters out there. The quickest way to do that, like you have 300 files, right? So what I always find the quickest, let me close all these. So window, close all. Do you want to, no, I don't want to save that. No, thank you. So the quickest way to do it is take your folder here, and I was working on the large, right? So where's the large? There. And I already did the 1 and 2, is to select, I usually select a handful of them, drag them over, they'll put them in tabs across the top. All right, and once those all open, you can do Control A to select all, right click, save letter, type the number 9 and hit OK, go to the next one, Control A or draw a box around it, 8, so on and so forth. And when you get them, you know, that grouping done, and of course I opened a few, so I'm committed here. We're going to do a few of them just to give you, because it really doesn't take long, right? So you go through, save all your letters, your numbers, whatever it's going to be, and they're all going into the same font. Oh, I just overwrote my 6 with a 5. Huh. Whoops. So that's 5. I got to go redo 6 because I just overwrote it. Oops. Helps if I pay attention to what I'm typing, huh? All right. Right click, save letter, the number 4, 3, type the number 3, and then 0. Save letter, the number 0, and say OK. Now window, close all, go back to your folder, select the next ones. I'm not going to do a bunch, but I usually select a handful, drag them over, and save them off. And just keep closing them. They stay highlighted in your browser here as you're doing this. So if I just did these 4, drag them over, so to know where to start next time when I come back here, I just click on the next ones and highlight down. Okay, so then that font becomes something that you can type. You can arch, you can do all the different things that you can do with text, you can do with it. All right. Was that the question? Sorry. Yeah, so that's that. How do you put it in your font collection? That's how. All right, I have Summit 2. I bought an 8x13, but it's not there. The 13x8 is for... I don't believe you can create hoops for the Summit. So I know how I would deal with that. But what I would do is put in a note to service@melco.com, because I don't believe it's got that capability. And I know the database has to be updated on the backside. So I would actually message service@melco and ask them, because I'm not 100% sure. I know how I would just work around that, but I'm also a daring and risky embroiderer who likes to trace things, so, and push limits. So it's not something I would recommend, but anyway, I would send a note over to service and see if they can get with engineering on that. I've lost the right side of the screen that shows the colors of the design. How do I get it back? Okay, so that is just the project view. So over here is where you see all that. So if you close that by accident, right? I closed all these and they're gone. What you can do is, there's a few ways you can deal with this. You can go to View, Project Views, and turn it back on. That's the project view. Or you can right click up here and say Reset Layout. Do I really want to reset it? Yes. It'll put it all back how it originally was. Okay, so there's kind of two ways you can put all this back. So if by chance you drag it away and then you go, oh, I got to put it back, I want it over there, or you close it and you forget about it, you can't find it, it is here, these are those views there, or right click and say Reset Layout. The right click has to be on one of these toolbar areas and that will pop up. Doesn't really matter where. You notice I'm clicking all over the place. I'm just right clicking anywhere and it will say Reset Layout. I use that a lot when I drag bars off the screen like this. I get annoyed trying to put them back where I want them. So I just say Reset Layout and they all go back to where I want them. I like the default layout. Okay. What other questions do you have? Because these are the ones that were sent in. Any others? So if you have questions, type them in. I will waste a little bit of time in case someone's frantically typing, and if not, we will call it a day. As far as questions, for these Design Shop talks, we try to do them periodic, on a weekly basis for you to try to see what questions you have, get them answered. Submit your questions, right? So there's these forums online where you can type in your question. It sends it to a Excel sheet where I can pull them all up beforehand. If you have pictures that you want me to look at, you can put them on there too. That's nice because you don't have to wait for the live and, oh, you missed it, or I forgot to ask, or any of those sorts of things. Just add them there and then it'll be on the next live. All right, so just type in your questions and leave them there for any time, and we'll try to get them answered. So any other questions before we call it a day? All right. If you are frantically typing, just type a character or something and hit enter so I know a question's coming. Otherwise, I'm going to call it a day. So I'll be back next Thursday. School is back in full force. So yeah, next Thursday is good. I have to use a TTF, but they're not the best. Is there a way to make them look better? Getting good TTFs is always helpful. If you don't, you can modify them. Tricks to them. Let's see. I'm trying to think which ones don't sew very well. Let's see. No, not under custom, under TrueType. Because I got, let's see if I can think of one. Oh, Smoothie. I really like this font. Let's see. I love this font, but it is very thin. And that's not how you spell my name, but S-A-M-A. There we go. All right, so I really like this font. It's really thin and can be a little bit problematic. So what are some tricks we can use on it? So first off, you can add pull compensation. So by adding this, it makes it bolder. All right, now, should I add 11? Absolutely not. But, you know, 2 to 3 points of pull compensation is always good. Don't forget you have the bold feature as well, which will add, it makes it bold before it adds compensation, so that can help some. What else do we have on that? So I always tend to make them bold. I tend to add a little bit of extra pull compensation on them. Other things you can do, let's say the shape of a particular letter isn't working for you. What can you do about that? I like all these, but I'm going to modify it just to show you how. If I select the letter and I right click, I can go wireframe editing. So you can edit the wireframe, and from here you can modify it. So let's say I wanted to move these points way over here, add another point here. You know, maybe I wanted to delete that one and then make this one thin up so it comes more to a little point. So you can change the shape of it just by selecting it, right click, going into wireframe editing, and fixing the wireframe that's you're unhappy with, right? And if you're always doing, like if you use that font a lot and you're going, hey, I always want that letter to look like that, you can then right click and say save letter, and it will save it into this TrueType modified category, so that it's a modified font that will use the letters you created that you modified for how it was, how it came to be, right? So like maybe I don't like how jagged that is up there. I can right click, wireframe edit, and I can play with it, move it around, try to smooth it out, get it to look more like what I want. Okay, does that help any, Sherry? So the biggest thing with TrueTypes that I like to do is make sure you're adding pull. Make sure you add pull offset. Make it a little bit bolder. That takes, to me, that helps a lot. It's like the magic sauce. Sprinkle it on there. And then all else fails, the wireframe editing, well, it's a, I don't know, I find it annoying when I type something and I want it to just work and then I have to edit it. It's better than having it so horribly. But, oh, back, undo. All right. But I only have to do it once because I can save those letters, and next time I use the font, it'll be how I want. On that curly S, what's the best way to extend the line? Like if we wanted to extend the swirl by a couple of inches. Okay, so like, are you talking about making the swirl like come down around or do something like that? So let's say I'll come around and swirl over here. Is that what you're talking about, Kyle? So those sorts of things, I'll be honest, you can do the wireframe editing, or I will tend to do things like this. I'll line up the first few stitches, and then I will start drawing whatever it is that I'm wanting. Right? So I'll do something like that. All right, that's stupid looking, but let's fix it since we want it to actually look correct and not like garbage. That's better. So I'll be honest, I do a lot of it like this. I will go through and add pieces by just lining up the first few stitches close and just making it look seamless that way, right? So I'll make it attached like that. Now, you can do that same thing in the font itself, right? So if I undo that, I'm going to right? So if I undo that, I'm going to convert that because I kind of like it. Convert to vector. All right, so now I have something that I can kind of work towards. So on that letter, I can right click, I can go wireframe editing, and this is the annoying part. I can add points, but I have to drag those over there, and now I can move these around and add points around, and it looks pretty silly until you get it all straightened out, right? So, whoops, wrong one. That point. Oh, shift control this point. There it is. I want that. Stop. Go away. I want that handle. Goodness. There we go. Right. So, tedious, mildly, right? But if I have art to trace, it's not horrible, really. Anyway, I'm just monkeying around now, but you get the idea. Yeah, so I tend to add the art on there, like either add it manually, put some art so that I have something to reference while I'm arguing with the shape, right? So you can see I've gotten relatively close. If I turn this off, I could actually see what I'm doing, huh? Details. Delete that one because that's not really helping me much. There we go. That's not bad. It's a little fat down there, but yeah, there you go. That's not horrible, right? So you can modify it, right? And then once you get it what you like it as, then you can select it and then say save letter. I'm not going to do that. I use this font a lot, so I'm not going to monkey with it. But you get the idea. So you can modify them. You can even create copies of those TTF files, TTF fonts, give it a new name, and then create your own. So Kyle, does that help? Cool. I'm glad that's helpful. All right. So what other questions might we have? It's like, is someone texting me a question? No, it's work. All right, y'all. Yay. All right, let me scroll back up, make sure I didn't miss any other questions. And if that's that, I guess we shall call it a day. All right. Well, thank you for joining today. I will be back next week. So in the meantime, if you have questions, please submit them so I have stuff to talk about. Oh, there you go. We got the link for you in the comments. So yeah, submit your questions and we'll try to get them answered. And I will be back next week. Have a fantastic weekend and have fun sewing. I will see you then. Bye, everyone.